ESPN's week-long celebration of the great arenas and venues in college basketball. Great Pennsylvania matchup, the final ever regular season Big East meeting between Villanova and Pitt. With former Providence head coach Tim Welsh, Adam Amin on hand. It's a big game for both of these two teams. Villanova is off to a good start, sitting at 2-1, a chance to move into that upper echelon in the early part of the season. Pitt's coming off a really tough overtime loss, and they're 1-3 right now. Huge game for these two Pennsylvania rivals.
Adam, everyone wants to look at the records. I look at the teams. I think they're both very improved from a year ago, and I think they're both going to make surges as the season goes on because they're counting on some freshmen. But tonight's game is really going to be won in the lane because both teams want to play at the rim.
Let's dive into our one-on-one. You say it's going to be one in the paint, but you know this as well. It starts in the backcourt, and Trey Woodall coming off that concussion against Marquette headlines Pitt.
Well, if you don't have the quarterback, you can't win. And Pitt didn't have last year, at least part of the season at full strength. That's why last year they struggled. He missed the Marquette game all but 4 minutes. That's why they lost. Tonight he's back to full strength. 29 a year ago against Villanova, and Villanova has to make some shots. They're going to be good on defense. They're going to be physical. They're going to get to the free throw line. They're going to rebound. Can they make shots? When they do, they can play with anybody in this league.
Step into our starting lineups tonight. First for the visiting Pitt Panthers, still receiving votes in the top 25. They start a couple of freshmen. Top 5 point guard coming out of high school, James Robinson. Steven Adams is improving steadily. Talib Zana's having a great year, but he had his worst game against Marquette, just 3 points, and he shot poorly from the floor. Woodall is back in the lineup. Patterson rounds it out. For the Villanova Wildcats, they come in at 11-5, coming off that loss against Syracuse, but they've won 7 of their last 8. Ryan Arcidiacono is the true freshman that leads them in just about every category: 3-pointers, assists, also turnovers. He needs to cut down on that. Muftau Yaru, back-to-back double-doubles in Big East play. They do not have their best scorer in the starting lineup. That's Javon Pinkston. He comes in off the bench. Veteran officiating crew here in Philly tonight, just outside of Philadelphia. John Cal, John Gaffney, Mike Nance, 42 combined years and nearly 2,400 games. That student section takes up about a third of the seats, and it is a tough place to play here at the Pavilion. Pitt and Nova for the final time ever in scheduled Big East play before the Pitt Panthers take off for the ACC. Panthers start with the basketball tonight. They are the enigma of the Big East right now, sitting at 1-3, trying to avoid slipping, coming off that overtime loss against Marquette. And Arcidiacono with an early steal, taking it away from the other freshman on the other side in Robinson.
Villanova's concern is live ball turnovers. Their Pitt did.
Yaru can't connect. Rebounding is going to be exceptionally important for these two teams in this game. There's Steven Adams, had space when he caught it, left it short. In transition, here is Hillier. He has really been scuffling from outside this year, but he buries an early 3.
Well, Adam, Jay Wright told us earlier today he's going to let his guys run and let it fly because he wants to play with confidence on offense, which they've been lacking at times this season.
Woodall to Adams. Offensive foul. There is Arcidiacono to draw the charge.
Well, a lot of people have a lot of heart. A lot of people have a lot of courage. It takes both to stand in front of Steven Adams and take it right in the mitts, right in the chest. Arcidiacono taking it from the big fella from New Zealand, right in the gut.
Nova with wins over St. John's in South Florida. They lost to Syracuse, gave up 45 points in the second half, despite hanging with the Cuse for most of the game. Won 7 of their last 8. They only won 13 games last year, already 11 wins this year. But this has been their biggest issue. They've been struggling shooting, and they've been turning the ball over a whole lot. Jamie Dixon hoping to take advantage of that. Highest all-time Big East win percentage, sitting at 251 wins now in 10 years at Pitt. Pittsburgh 50% from the floor this season, top 10 in the country, lead the nation in assist-to-turnover ratio. Woodall off the mark. Nova again holds Pitt to 1 and done. The double comes on Yaru. Pressure from Zana and Patterson, and a timeout used early. Darren Hillier called it from the floor. Jay Wright now in his 12th season, coming off their worst campaign under Jay Wright, had won 20 games and made the tournament 7 straight years before a really scuffling campaign at 13 and 19 a year ago.
Another rebuilding because we've lost some guys in the NBA, Malik Waynes and Randy Foys of the world, and Alan Ray, Kyle Lowry. The names go on and on and on of the great guards that Jay Wright has had amongst other players. But you know, this year I think he really likes this basketball team. He's got the 2 young freshmen in the lineup. He's got Pinkston coming in off the bench. In that last possession, they've got to make sure that they slide into open areas when they trap Pittsburgh traps them on the baseline.
Pitt has won the last 4 meetings. The last win for Villanova, the 2009 Elite 8, when Scotty Reynolds hit that buzzer beater in Boston to send Villanova to the Final Four, their first since the '85 title run. Archie Diacono on the tape, can't knock it down. Robinson the board. Pitt off the board to start the night, 2 minutes in. Woodall's open in transition, a 3 to tie. In and out. He's missed his first 2 tries from about 15 out.
Interesting matchup with Hilliard on Woodall. The size of Hilliard and the length and the quickness of Woodall off the bounce.
There's a steal from Patterson. Archie Diacono by himself. Robinson can't twist it off the window.
He should have 2 steps right on the left side. He's been opposite, made it more difficult than it should have been.
We'll dive more into the keys for Villanova in our Welsh Watch, but what do you got, Coach?
Well, get to the free throw line, 28 a game, and turnover issues. You've already seen that as well for Nova. They've got to get the ball up on the rim instead of passing it. Look, just like that, and they go attack the glass.
Mutal Yaru can't connect. Bell came streaming in for the board, but Pitt takes over. 0-4 to start the night. Woodall against Ochefu. That was a mismatch. Ochefu comes out with the rebound, the freshman from Baltimore.
Great position defender, freshman. Understands Jace just put him in the starting lineup the last couple games. Really a good inside position guy.
2-man game. But another turnover for Villanova early. Woodall to Zana. Through the foul from Hilliard. Pitt, some keys that you see for them tonight to go up against Villanova and get a win?
You know, perimeter defense has been an issue for Pittsburgh in their 3 Big East losses. Cincinnati, Rutgers, and over the weekend Marquette. And transition baskets, you saw it on that play. They're going to get out and run. I think they're a little bit challenged in the half court because of their young freshmen that they play at 2 out of the 5 spots. But they're very good in transition. They get out and run. And Robinson does a nice job of pushing the pace.
Zana gets Pitt on the board nearly 3.5 minutes in, coming off his worst game of the season, 1 of 9 from the floor. But he's having his best season in his career, averaging nearly 13 to lead Pitt.
Marquette got up in him. You know, he likes that mid-range baseline wing type jumper. Marquette denied that and looked for Villanova to get in his chest as well.
1 of 2 at the line. Pitt went 13 for 26 in an overtime loss against Marquette at the free throw line. That was one of their Achilles heels the other night. There is the transfer from Wake Forest. Tony Chenault can't connect, and looks like Yaru was out of bounds when he had possession of the ball, and it's Pitt basketball.
Offensively for Villanova, it'll be interesting to see how they handle the double teams down on the baseline and on the box. And so far, not so good. Yaru struggling with that trap. Look for Pitt to keep attacking him big on big, making him a passer.
Javon Pinkston is in for Pitt, 22 in white, guarding Zana. Patterson steps into a 3 over Yaru. Roof with the rebound. Bell to Yaru, got the bump from Zana. The bucket wouldn't go, but Mutal Yaru will head to the free throw line. A very good free throw shooter, but we're 4+ minutes in. We have 4 points total on the board. We kind of expected this, I guess. Welsh Watch, some of the keys to victory. We'll take it through them all season long. They're on the way when we come back.
Now it's time to take a look at tonight's Welsh Watch. In tonight's Welsh Watch, we're going to look at Pittsburgh's perimeter defense. In their 3 Big East losses, it's been their Achilles heel, guarding the perimeter, not only from the three-point line against Cincinnati, but dribble penetration against Rutgers. They took their quick guards and took Pittsburgh to school. And then in their most recent loss over the weekend against Marquette, guard play was not there for Pittsburgh when they needed to defend from the perimeter. And for Villanova, they're going to play a different type of game. They're going to play the game in the paint. They're going to get to the free throw line. 28 per game, 30 per game in their three Big East games. It's not your typical Villanova team. They want to play in the paint.
It's a Villanova team that averages 20 of its 71 points per game at the free throw line. They lead the nation in free throw rate, meaning for the amount of possessions they get, they score the most points. Yaru's going to the line. He's had 2 great games back to back.
It's not artistic by any means, but you know, Jay Wright has kind of retooled his basketball team.
Sure.
He knows who they are. You know, everybody's kind of stayed in their lane. He has everybody knowing their role out there on the floor. They can be a streaky 3-point shooting team, but they're not a good passing team. And offensively, they're very physical at the wings and inside, and they're trying to get the ball in the paint and go. And they're trying to attack the rim. And if on the nights when they do shoot the ball from the outside, they can beat a lot of people.
Jay Wright's team shooting just 41% from the floor. They've got the early 4-point lead. Trap in the backcourt from Nova.
1-2-2 3/4 court. Back to man.
Both these teams have dealt with a 2-3 zone in their games this weekend. Nova against Syracuse, Pitt against Marquette. J.J. Moore, leading scorer off the bench, down to Dante Taylor. 6 on the clock, and draws the bump.
That's a bad foul by Yaru. I mean, you can see clearly early, Villanova's playing dead behind Pittsburgh's big men, challenging to throw the ball inside, letting them try to finish over the top. Pittsburgh's not good at finishing from 7 feet and out. Their bigs let him catch the ball in there. Taylor should not have been fouled there by Pinkston.
And free throw shooting was a huge bugaboo this weekend for Pitt. Lamar Patterson knocked down a 3 at the end of regulation at the Pete. They sent it to overtime. Marquette got the win in OT. 2 of 4 to start the night at the foul line, right at 50%. Just 2 points on the board for the Panthers. Hedge for more on Archie Diacono. Pinkston backing down more. Stays here with 15 on the shot clock, trying to get it across the lane to Yaru.
Interesting to see on the second bounce, Pinkston is feeling the trap coming to him. He's got to have somebody supporting him on ball side so he can pitch it back outside. He tried to throw it right into the teeth of the defense.
Yaru open off the inbound, way off the mark. Taylor closing in on it. Trey Ziegler, the Central Michigan transfer, gets it to roll home for the first field goal of the game for Pitt. 5:15 in.
Well, they need to do that more often. They need to get those misses and push it up the floor, because against Villanova's half-court D, they're not going to score very often at a high percentage. They need to run when they can.
There's Pinkston. Chenault draws the bump. Gets Ziegler for the foul, his first. Chenault, the transfer from Wake Forest, got a hardship waiver to play right away this year after he wanted to be closer to his ailing mother. He's a Philly native. Fortunately, his brother was shot, fatally shot, right when he got back to Philly. It's really affected him. Jay Wright has great things to say about Chenault's leadership. He's been able to play at the point and allow Archie Diacono to play off the ball this year.
Both teams really difficult to play against in the half court. And what we said against Villanova is the same for Pittsburgh. They don't surrender in the half court defense.
Ash Yakubu is on the floor as well. There's Maurice Sutton. All bench players, but Hilliard on the floor for Villanova. Here comes Pitt. Good for Deron Johnson. Spot up shooter coming off 10 against Marquette. Can't finish, but there's Dante Taylor. He's got 3 for Pitt. How about this? The Panthers lead.
This game should be played with some helmets for sure, because there's a lot of arms and elbows flying up around the rim because there's a lot of missed shots, but both teams are attacking the rim at will.
Taylor nearly knocked it away from Chanel.
That's a foul out there. Bump on the head right there. That's got to be a foul call.
Nova all off sorts, all off base here on this offensive possession. Shot clock down to 7. Here comes Yakubu, and he draws another Pittsburgh foul. Against Deron Johnson.
That's about the 4th one they committed on that possession that wasn't called. You know, Pitt's got to be careful on those high hedges out on the perimeter. They do a really good job with it, but if they get out and start bumping the dribbler, Villanova's going to start parading to the free throw line.
Robinson back in with Patterson. Deron Johnson quickly off the floor. 4 team fouls already against the Panthers. Javon Pinkston got the step, too strong off the glass. Pitt looking to push. Woodall runs into Sutton on the double. A reset back to Robinson.
Just great help side defense in the paint.
Both defenses playing well early. Shot clock to a dozen. Woodall got past Arcidiacono with the help of his screen, and he got the 2.
And that's where the help's got to come sooner for Villanova. You can't let Woodall get that second dribble on an angle into the lane. He's got that nice teardrop.
Arcidiacono cross court Hilliard, his second 3 of the game. 26% of the season, but he's thrown up back-to-back bombs, and it's tied at 8.
Oh, a nice feel for the defense there by Arcidiacono, understanding where his teammate was on the weak side. Pitt slow on the closeout.
Snaps a stretch of 6 straight misses for Nova. Pitt started 0 for 6. They're starting to heat up. Woodall to Patterson for 3. Off the heel, long rebound. Here comes Nova. Pinkston tried to lead it ahead for Yakubu. Out of bounds, and 16 points through 8 minutes in this ball game. 4 turnovers for Villanova. Not a lot of people would put Pitt and Indiana in the same category offensively. We'll tell you how Pitt is as good as IU, the top scoring team in the nation, when we come back. '64th meeting all time between Pitt and Villanova. The final time they'll meet as Big East regular season foes. Pitt is 5-9 here at the Pavilion, one of the great atmospheres in college basketball. Not a lot of people would put Pitt and IU in the same category. Indiana, despite coming off that loss against Wisconsin, #2 team in the country, #1 scoring team in the nation. But look at the offensive efficiency. Points per possession is kind of a metric stat, but it takes into account how fast and how quickly your team plays in terms of your tempo. Pitt averages the 4th fewest possessions per game in the country, so they're playing at a slower pace. IU speeds it up a little bit, so naturally people are going to assume that IU, because they score more, is a better offense. Pitt's more efficient than IU, as a matter of fact, and they do it because they take care of the basketball.
Well, Pitt traditionally over the years, that's their identity. And they're going to play You know, they're going to work the ball. They're going to get it inside. They're going to make sure they take care of the basketball as well. And that's what they do this year, almost a 2-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio on the season. And you see that right there. And that's why I think Pittsburgh is going to be there for the long haul. I mean, those stats don't lie. It doesn't matter who you're playing. In Pittsburgh right now, this year, they've got that perimeter game going. If they can just find a little bit more consistency inside, the inside guys, I just don't think finish well enough at the rim.
Trey Woodall back after suffering that concussion, was able to pass the baseline tests, had 24 hours of wait in between practices, and was cleared to play tonight. He's ready to go, and he's on the board already with a field goal. Tied up at 8. 8+ minutes in. Going over the top to Adams. When he learns more offensively, when he starts to develop that, he's going to be very dangerous, very efficient.
Well, I'll take Steven Adams right at a foot from the rim every time, but nice release there at the rim and nice pass as well.
Pinkston got more in the air, got the shot off, but another one-and-done possession on both ends of the floor. Patterson got into a tough spot with that step, looking for Adams. And here comes Villanova. 3 turnovers for the Panthers. Arcidiacono behind the Yaru screen. Well short. Pitt's got it up too.
Steven Adams, when he doesn't have to really think about where he's going on the floor, he plays instinctively. This is why he can be a great player there. He does a nice job of jamming Yaru up the lane. He catches it right at the rim. It doesn't matter where the weak side help is. It's too late.
Only Devontae Gardner has been more efficient scoring this year in the Big East. You said it. When he learns more, he's going to be very dangerous. Trying to set the screen and roll for Woodall. Woodall forced that one. Didn't even look up to see where Adams was and tossed it into traffic.
An unusual play there by Woodall. You don't see that very often from him, experienced point guard.
One of the best assist men in the Big East. Turns it over very little. Pitt, 3rd in the country in fewest turnovers this year. Struggling early. Yaru twisting and turning and reversing it home to tie us up at 10.
Villanova clearly going at Adams. They're trying to post up Yaru right in the middle of the lane. He's doing a nice job of carving out space. He's usually more comfortable facing around 15 feet. Tonight, nice moves around the basket.
Robinson lost a handle on it, still 10 to shoot, threw it out there for Woodall, who bumps into Arcidiacono for a foul. All started with Woodall's pass being kind of off kilter for Robinson.
Well, both teams very erratic on offense. It's not really their own fault. It's because of the defense. Up and at him, high hands, good anticipation on the weak side of there. Just kind of a loose pass by Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh a little loose in their last 2 possessions on offense.
3 straight possessions with a turnover. They've got 5 in this game. And Pittsburgh averages only 9. Arcidiacono actually takes a seat. Seems to be okay after taking that bump. So Chenault runs the point. Drives to the elbow and got it knocked away by Robinson.
Not a good play, though, by Chenault. He's got to run the offense, not try to take it himself.
5 turnovers apiece. More for 3 from the corner. A good defense by Hilliard to close out. Villanova comes back.
And a bad shot, though, by Moore. One pass and a contested 3 from the corner, falling out of bounds.
So Pitt's a team that makes the most of their possessions. Haven't done it exactly in the early part of this game. Hilliard's 2 for 2 from outside. He got closed out and got fouled by Patterson. ESPN News coverage of college basketball continues with a doubleheader on Saturday. Marquette back into the top 25. They'll square up with Sean Kilpatrick and Cincinnati out of the top 25. Then Kentucky, who got tested by Tennessee last night, takes on Auburn. Part of my home court, part of a doubleheader on ESPN News Saturday night. Hilliard's 2 for 2. 3 for 3.
Jay Wright might want to put that sideline out of bounds play back in his playbook. First the lob pass and then the throwback to the inbounder for the 3. I'm sure that wasn't designed that way.
He's got 9. Yaru's got 4 for Villanova. Robinson looking to answer. Way off the mark. Ziegler backside board of the putback. He's got 4.
A lot of good shots by Pittsburgh. And, you know, those offensive efficiency numbers are terrific to look at and well-designed, well thought of. But now you really look over the next month where those numbers go when you're playing the varsity.
That's right. That's a good point. They didn't have a very tough non-conference. That's a very good point. Can they sustain? Hillier, that's his first miss of the night. Here comes Pitt. Robinson. Patterson. That was a good look. Couldn't knock it down. And Villanova again holds Pitt to 1 and done.
You know, both these defenses almost mirror each other. You know, in the past, Villanova played with quickness. They extended the floor. They played more zone. Now they get up in your face. They hedge hard on the ball screens. They trace the basketball. Very similar to Pittsburgh defensively.
Good backdoor. Yaru to Hilliard, but he tried to force one more inside for Ochefu. Patterson to Ziegler. Offensive foul. Second on Lamar Patterson. And Villanova's got the basketball on the way back. And Darren Hilliard's really lighting it up from outside to start the night. 3 for 3 from three-point range, and Villanova leads by 1. He's doing the brunt of the damage for the Cats early. He's got 9 of the 13. One-point lead for Villanova, 13-12. And Pittsburgh, you talked about it in your Welsh Watch, Coach. Pittsburgh's got to defend the perimeter. Darren Hilliard is so far 3 from 3 for outside. They've struggled to guard him.
Well, Pittsburgh, what they'll do is they high hedge on all the top ball screens, and inside they really come quick with the help from the weak side. But really get up and get at you. You see high hands always trace the basketball, trying to contain. Their problem has been perimeter defense, but tonight not so much. They get out and attack and force Villanova from their sweet spots. Hilliard's got to loose a couple times. Most of the night, Pittsburgh's been very active to the basketball with active hands and active feet.
3 of 4 from outside Villanova. You mentioned it, 1 for 10 of Pittsburgh guarding inside the perimeter. They've held Nova to 10% inside the arc. And that 54 points per game would be the best mark in Pittsburgh history if the season were to end right now. But you said it, as good as they've been defensively, top 5 in the country scoring D, can they sustain against the big boys?
Well, you just have to look at the rebound numbers. I mean, traditionally they're excellent rebounding teams,
right.
+8 in the season, but in the Big East, they're -4. So they've got to tighten everything up as they move forward tonight. So far, so good for Pittsburgh defensively.
Rotated to Bell. He has really been struggling shooting as of late. He's their best three-point shooter, needed to step up.
Villanova going real small right now with Pinkston and Yakubu guarding Adams inside.
Sutton at 6'11" is out on Robinson. They got Yakubu on Robinson. Adams the screen. Shot clock to 10. Ziegler got it blocked by Maurice Sutton. Stays here with 7 on the clock.
Well, Sutton's active. That's why he started earlier in the season. Chefu's taking his spot in the lineup, but he comes in and kind of gives them that instant energy on both ends of the floor.
26 blocks on the season now as well. Deron Johnson, spot-up shooter, buries a 3 and Pitt's back in front. 34% on the season, a career-high 10 against Marquette, but didn't shoot all that well.
Jay Wright ran up the sidelines at James Bell, did not defend that sideline or that baseline out bounce play at all. Kind of fell asleep there, and Johnson made a pay.
Johnson picks up Bell on the switch, trying to draw a bump, and he slid that pivot foot.
James Bell is going to come out of the game, not because of that turnover, but because defensively he just was not ready to defend on the baseline out of bounds play. So if you're not in a stance early, you're going to get picked off by Pittsburgh because they're going to lay a screen on your backside on the baseline out of bounds.
A teaching moment for Jay Wright, James Bell. Here is Zana. A good positioning inside by Pinkston for the rebound. Adams hedging out on Hilliard. That left Sutton open inside. Adams comes over for the block.
Great timing by Adams. Looked like Sutton had the angle of the rim perfectly. Adams came from the weak side. All ball.
34 blocks on the season for Steven Adams. He moves so well at his size from side to side. Now watch him work in the post. Second field goal. 4-point lead is the largest for Pitt.
You saw Villanova. They're still playing dead behind Adams. They may want to change that because the big fella's showing a little dexterity down in the low box. A little up and under move. Left Sutton in the wake.
And look at him on the help defense there, helping to force a turnover. 8 turnovers now for Villanova, and Zana is going to go to the free throw line.
Sutton makes a nice move here on the baseline offensively, but looks like he's got the angle, and then Adams comes from all the way to the three-point line. Sutton looked like he probably lost control of the basketball, but most likely because the New Zealander was there. Now here, on the other end of the floor, the up and under, and then just a little dip of the shoulder and a nice jump hook.
Pinkston has picked up his second foul, so he heads to the bench for Villanova. That's their leading scorer who comes in off the bench.
Pitt settling in a little bit now against Villanova's half-court defense. I think for Villanova maybe to change up and play a little bit of zone and challenge Pittsburgh from the perimeter.
9-0 run for their largest lead at 6, Pittsburgh. Final time these two teams will meet in Big East regular season play. Pitt has won 4 straight ball games against Villanova. Look at the pressure here from Pitt. The Bell found open, way off. And a good job for Villanova by Ochefu, showing off some of that athleticism at his size to save it off of Woodall.
Well, Villanova's got to understand now that they're throwing the ball down in the kind of the mid-box area, the mid-post area, and Pittsburgh is coming with the trap right away, and they're rotating over ball side, and nothing is there. They may want to just fake that pass, swing, and attack from the weak side from the wing.
Going to keep 13 on the shot clock here. And Johnson and Hilliard have to be separated, getting a little aggressive before the play. Chenault and Archie Diacono on the floor at the same time. Chenault got it rejected inside. Pitt on the run. Johnson, a good shooter, closed out. So they rotate to Ziegler. Corralled by Yaru.
He's got to be more patient. He's just kind of begging into Pittsburgh's pressure on the perimeter, not really moving the basketball.
In a mismatch for a moment, Woodall was guarding Yaru. Yaru with the double coming, throws it over to Ochefu for a flush.
Well, that's what you do. You have to attack the trap. You have to turn, and you have to face the double team so you can be an efficient passer. That time, Yaru, nice little bounce pass. Ochefu finding the gap on the weak side.
We're going to get a foul underneath against Villanova. Call Ochefu for it, but Ochefu getting Villanova's first points in almost 5 minutes.
A high percentage has been at a minimum for Villanova, but this is anything but that. This is high percentage.
I'm Matt Schick. Coming up at halftime, Dino Gaudio will join me, and we'll go down some of the other Big East highlights, including Georgetown and Villanova. Number 14, NC State, coming off that big win over Duke, out of the gate slowly against Maryland. And Chip Kelly taking his talents to the NFL. All that coming up at half. Back to Adam and Sia.
Matty, thank you. Good crowd again here at the Pavilion. 133rd consecutive regular season sellout. 6,500. And that famed student section behind the basket that Villanova is shooting at right now. Pitt will have to deal with that in the second half. About a third of the seats belong to the students here at the Pavilion. Nova will only play 3 games at Wells Fargo this season. Some of the bigger games, Cuse, Louisville, as you would expect, Georgetown as well.
Here's where they got burned before, coming off that little flat double on the wing, and here Arcidiacono trails the screener. Better defensive play by Villanova.
That was Cam Wright, who's into the ball game. He gives you about 5 on the season points per game, being tightly guarded by Chenault. Senior against freshman. Woodall against Arcidiacono. Got it to Zana. Got it rejected. Out to Johnson. A 3 with the shot clock winding down. He knocks it down. Largest Pitt lead at 7.
Sometimes the easiest way to get open is just take it into the paint and reload from the perimeter. That time Villanova did a great job. Pitt fortunate.
12-2 run for the Panthers. Second 3 of the game for Johnson. And that'll be another Pitt foul. They'll get Taylor for this one. 1-1 coming up for Villanova. How about the Pac-12 Thursday night showcase presented by T. Rowe Price on ESPNU. Doubleheader, Oregon State, number 24 UCLA. And the Ducks are in the top 25. They'll take on USC. Now without Kevin O'Neill as the head coach. Shabazz Muhammad, number 2 player in our ESPN 100 coming out of high school last year, leading UCLA in scoring as a freshman. 18 a game.
Ben Howland's got him cooking again. Oregon, Dana Altman with the big win over Arizona. Arizona looks strong. And Oregon needs a football coach. You interested, Adam?
I might be up for it. A big front end miss there by Ochefu. Largest lead for Pittsburgh right now. Good effort by Arcidiacono knocking that out of bounds.
Well, Villanova's played very well on defense. They've got up into Pittsburgh. They've got on the perimeter. You see the hustle there by the freshman Arcidiacono. Just offensively, they can't get any rhythm against Pittsburgh's tough defense.
Holding them to about 25% from the floor right now. Gonna wipe up that spot where Arcidiacono dove. Pitt's bench doing a brunt to the scoring today. It's been Villanova's bench that has been outstanding as of late. Obviously, Pinkston's a big part of that. but they're averaging 27 a game in their last 10 off the bench. Pinkston hasn't scored. He's in foul trouble, and the Villanova bench hasn't done anything yet. Only 3 Wildcats have scored in this game. Hilliard has 9 points. Robinson against the bigger Ochefu. Bad pass, picked off by Hilliard. With Woodall behind him, he got it to go in a foul. Second foul on Woodall. Hilliard's got 11.
Well, here's 2 freshman mistakes. First, the sloppy cross-court pass, and then on the attack, coming from behind. Let him go if you can't protect the rim. You know, against these teams, you cannot throw loose cross-court passes, and that wasn't across the court. That was kind of a half-court pass from the wing to the top. But you've got to be really strong with the ball, and you've got to come meet the pass.
7-point lead cut back down to 4. Ziegler on the drive, got caught in a tough spot. Johnson cut to the basket, and Nova takes it away. Arcidiacono slow to get up, slow to rejoin the rest of his Wildcats.
There's just nothing there in the paint.
So Arcidiacono takes a 3. That was tapped by Bell into the corner, hoping that somebody be there. Here comes Pitt with 2 to go.
On your 3rd dribble, when you get into the lane, you are going to see 3 white shirts or 3 blue shirts on every possession.
Robinson the extra pass to Johnson, and a foul against Taylor underneath. That'll be his second. Patterson, Taylor, and Woodall all have 2 fouls for Jamie Dixon, and they don't have a ton of depth.
Well, they don't, but this is the way Villanova wants to play.
Buck it up, right?
They want to play ugly. It used to be guard you know, run up and down, flow, try to score 80, 90 points a game. Now it's, you know, get the ball in the lane, get it up on the rim, try to get to the free throw line, and here we are in the double bonus already for Pittsburgh.
No more Reynolds, no more Corey Fisher, no more Stokes, no more Pena. It's about the big boys more often than not for Villanova now.
Well, you talk about, you know, you said earlier, now you're playing the varsity and you're in your league, and a lot of these records are padded by week 9 league schedules, and Villanova 28 free throws a game in the non-league. So what do you think? Well, in the Big East, they're not going to be able to do that. Well, in 3 Big East games, they've gone to the line 90 times. So this is their identity now. This is who they are. This is, they want to get up the ball on the rim, and they're going to just attack the glass and try to get to the line.
How about Hilliard? He's got 14 of Villanova's 20. Back down to 2. Slapped away by Ochefu. 24 to shoot.
When you try to make that second pass from the elbow into the lane, there's just no way that's going to come in there clean, because arms and elbows are going to all come from every angle. And that's why you only have 42 points scored at this point total.
Robinson, one of the best freshman guards in the country, going up against Arcidiacono. It's help from Adams on the screen. Finds Johnson driving in. Kicked it away. Another Pittsburgh turnover. That's their 9th. That's how many they average a game, and they have already got 9 in the game.
Well, again, both these teams, same philosophy defensively. You know, on that second bounce, the weak side defender is going to come out, and you must see his shirt chest on chest. In Pittsburgh, a little skittish there on the drive because of Villanova's help side.
70 seconds for the first. Pitt hedging well. Ochefu against Adams. The double from Zana. The pitch to Bell. The kick to Hilliard. The rotation to Arcidiacono, who was last to touch. Ochefu. 51.6 left. Pitt ball. And Arcidiacono 0 of 4 from the floor.
Well, they keep trying to throw the ball into Ochefu at the mid-post, which I don't think is a good idea. But on that possession, that was the best they've handled it. They slid into the open gap on ball side, and they reversed it quickly before the defense could come out and contest Arcidiacono. He just missed the shot.
Johnson was loose to the basket. It was read by Hilliard. Here comes Bell. Arcidiacono for 3.
points are at a premium out of clearly with the score. Anybody can see that. But how do you get points? When you can, Villanova off turnovers, they'll attack, and they've got to make sure they attack and look weak side. Archie Diacono, Pittsburgh has been up in his grill all night long. Here in transition, they've got numbers they don't identify, and they great job on a skip by Bell. Little step into my shot for the freshman.
ESPN's Journey to the Tourney, season-long spotlight on games that will impact the tournament. Huge at the barn. Number 5 Michigan, number 9 Minnesota. Last Minnesota win over a top 5 team, 1994. And no Big Ten player has averaged 17 and 7 assists since Magic Johnson in 1979. Burke, a Wooden Award candidate, doing it right now.
How about that matchup to win the game? Trey Burke, the Columbus native, with the ball in his hands to win the game for John Beilein over the weekend against Ohio State. And Aaron Kraft, maybe the best on-ball defender in college basketball, locked him up. I don't know if he locked him up, but he just missed the shot.
Yeah, that's true. Had a shot to stay undefeated. Shot clock off. Pittsburgh trying to gun for the lead at the halftime break.
Look for Nova to trap the ball screen at the end of the shot clock.
Johnson to Adams. Good defense, Ochefu. Still 7 on the clock, and a foul called against Nova. That'll be their 5th. Still have a couple of fouls to give at that point. So
it's a good aggressive play there by Chenal. You know, as a coach, you say, well, why are you fouling there? Well, you know, if he pops the ball loose, the referee, and he gets away with it, then you can go get the ball going to the other end. No harm on that play by Chenal.
And again, they still have one more foul to give if they want to. In the hands of the freshman. 3 on the clock. Robinson fading at the buzzer. In and out. And that takes us to the half. Darren Hilliard had scored 11 points in his last 2 games. He's got 14 of the 23. An 8-0 run by Nova to answer the 12-2 Pitt run. A 1-point Villanova lead at the halftime break. Here at the Pavilion, 23-22. Up to the studios with Dino Gaudio. Here's Matt Schick.
Thank you, Adam. We are here at halftime. Nova uses that 8-0 run, as Adam mentioned, to get this 1-point halftime lead. What have you seen so far? Not an offensive slugfest so far. Probably didn't expect that anyway.
An incredibly physical game. Guys are just banging each other inside, and a big run for Villanova just prior to the end of the half. Why? Pittsburgh turning the basketball over. This team is efficient on offense as we've seen anywhere in the country in the half court. The 10 Pittsburgh turnovers, very atypical for a Panther basketball team.
Both teams only shooting 30% from the floor here in this first half. Second half coming up in just a little bit. Big East, other Big East action. Providence taking on Georgetown. And Georgetown without Greg Whittington, who's academically ineligible. He missed his 2nd game tonight. But Otto Porter Jr. is here.
Well, he is there, and he needs to be without Whittington because he's their leading scorer, leading rebounder. He really needs to up his offensive total without Whittington out there.
Chris Dunn had the steal, and then Vincent Council the lay-in. Nate Lubick battles on the post.
Old school hook shot.
Georgetown, look at the offense here. 36 points in that first half for Georgetown. NC State, they beat Duke. Mark Gottfried had to be leery of the letdown as they traveled to Maryland.
After they've beaten Duke or North Carolina in the last 20 years, they are 1-12 the game after. 12 of those losses, 5 of them to the Maryland Terrapins.
Oh, that is foreboding to say the very least. C.J. Leslie the slam, but you see the score. Maryland up early. And Des Wells. Rodney Purvis. Des Wells gets the block, and oh my goodness.
Those 2 guys are almost best friends.
Maryland up at the half, and you've seen an NC State team that came into the game leading in field goal percentage at, what, roughly 53%. Tonight they're around 23%. What are you seeing so far?
I'll tell you, Matt, when you're coaching, sometimes it's like when you play somebody. NC State, we talked about them coming off a big win over, at the time, number 1 Duke on Saturday. Just mentally, emotionally, early, they were not into the basketball game. They started to come back. Now, here's what they do really, really well, their UCLA offense. When they hit the wing, first option, Purvis off the top. Now, you have Calvin Leslie here. He could shoot it, but he could kick it inside, or he has his 3-point shooter, Scott Wood, on the perimeter. And because Scott Wood is such a great shooter, his defender can't give help. They go inside to Richard Howe. He plays big, just like he did Saturday when he had 16 points, 18 boards. That's how they've been able to come back.
Yeah, he had 16 points in that game. NC State has 16 points right now at half at Maryland. Other ACC action. Another interesting score. Boston College, a very young team. Miami, a very hot team. Miami coming into this one 3-0 in ACC play. This surprise you at all going into half there?
Well, it has to surprise you because I really think Miami is a team that's going to contend for a championship in the ACC. You don't want to go playing a Boston College team that's still rebuilding and take one on the chin from them.
Another one of those trap games. I know coaches hate to say it, but 4 straight wins for Miami. And they're taking on the Eagles and trailing there at half. Coming up, Michigan State and Tom Izzo. Maybe a trap game of their own as they head to Penn State tonight. We'll check in, see how the Spartans are doing. Maurice Sutton is 0 of 2 from the floor. This is one of the reasons why. The block there from Pitt. We're at a stalemate, 23-22 here at the half. Big Ten action. Michigan State heading to Penn State. And Adrian Payne, Brandon Dawson not starting tonight after getting into a scuffle at the team hotel today.
Not good when your guys are fighting your guys.
That's called infighting. Keith Appling for 3. And Denzel Valentine has his inbounds pass stolen. Kevin Montmany, that's easy. We're tied at 16. Again, Michigan State playing down to its opponent tonight.
They are. And this Penn State team without Tim Frazier, who tore his Achilles tendon earlier in the season, really undermanned, but they're fighting, playing very, very hard at home.
Tom Izzo wants consistency out of his team. Play well against teams you should beat handily. Right now, just a 4-point edge there in Penn State. Big game coming up tonight. Big West Coast Conference game right here on ESPNU as St. Mary's heads to BYU. Some numbers you need to know. For the Gales, the number's 51. That's their field goal percentage since the beginning of December. That's tops in the league. And for BYU, the number to know is 199, which is the career win total of head coach Dave Rose. And it's going to be a whiteout there at BYU. People are going to be sporting the white T-shirts. It's going to be a fun atmosphere. This is a St. Mary's team that swept both regular season meetings a season ago. And a great matchup in the backcourt we're going to see in this one.
Wonderful perimeter players, and Matthew Dellavedova from St. Mary's couldn't really score the ball. Point guard on the Olympic team for Australia this past summer. And, of course, Tyler Haws for BYU. Tyler Haws now 21 points a game. That puts him 9th in the nation at scoring two really hot teams. St. Mary's comes in winning 5 of 6. BYU, 6 straight wins. I played up at their Marriott Center, Matt. Tough joint to play in. 22,000, packed. Tough place to go get a win.
That's going to be 11 Eastern tonight on ESPNU. Both teams potentially fighting for that second bid in the NCAA tournament. Way too early. Way too early to talk about that. It's January, right? Villanova up a point here at half. There's Darren Hilliard with the three. Well, Chip Kelly has decided to join the birds of a different feather, leaving the Oregon Ducks to become head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFL. He was 46-7 in his 4 years at Oregon. He originally met with the Eagles after the January 3rd Fiesta Bowl and passed on the opportunity, but second time around, he jumped at the chance, and what a career he had at Oregon. 46-7 in those 4 years, the first coach to make a BCS Bowl appearance in each of his first 4 seasons, coming off his third straight 12-win season. Manti Te'o's story captured the attention of college football fans everywhere, not only for the Notre Dame linebacker's achievements, but because of his adversity that he fought off of the field. On September 12th, Manti Te'o learned that his 72-year-old grandmother had died. Te'o said he was told just 6 hours later that his 22-year-old girlfriend, Lene Kekua, had lost her battle with leukemia. But Lene Kekua did not exist. Tonight, Manti Te'o released a statement saying he met her online and formed what he thought was an authentic relationship. He called being the victim of this hoax painful and humiliating. Manti Te'o is supposed to be meeting with the media very shortly. Men's basketball, college basketball action Thursday, Pac-12 doubleheader at 9. Roberto Nelson leads the Beavers against freshman Shabazz Mohammed and the upstart Bruins there at number 24 in the country. And then at 11, Dana Altman's Ducks, where they playing well, taking on USC at 11 o'clock Eastern time. Coming up second half, Pittsburgh, Villanova here in the Big East. What do you want to see in the second half of this one?
Jimmy Dixon's telling his guys, fellas, we're beating ourselves. We have 10 turnovers in the first half. Now, on offense, we got to get Zana going. Talib Zana 0 for 2 from the field, so we're going to come out early, put the ball in a box. And, of course, Villanova, Jay Wright, fellas, let's keep running. Spurt before the end of the half, quick layup in transition, 3 by Archie Diacono. We need to push the ball. That's why we have the lead.
Javon Pinkston leads the team with 13 points a game. He's got no points here in the first half. So far, so good for Nova. Muftau Yaro with the bucket. Second half with Adam coming up.
1-point Villanova lead, an 8-0 run to close out the half for the Wildcats to take the advantage on Pitt after they took a 7-point advantage in that first half. Back at the Pavilion with Tim Welsh, Adam Amin. Great atmosphere here at Nova, part of my home court this week. Not very good shooting. Both teams under 31%, but like you predicted, this was going to be kind of a dirty battle of a Big East game, and sure enough it was.
I love defense.
Yeah, you do.
You got to stay tuned in because you'll see two of the best defensive teams in the Big East tonight in the half court. This isn't really bad offense. I think both teams just get after you defensively. And one thing, what happens with both teams, from the perimeter, they're going to get up in you. They're very active. But when the ball goes inside the lane, it's like putting your hand in a vice. It's going to get squeezed and squeezed very hard because both teams are active. They attack from the weak side. And then if you throw loose passes on the perimeter, guys like Darren Hilliard will make you pay. Hilliard, terrific with 2 steals, but also offensively been the only spark plug for Villanova. Both teams have to look to attack a little bit more in transition and try to loosen up the defense. And Villanova's three-point shooting has been Darren Hilliard, the erratic at best three-point shooter on the season. Hilliard's been very comfortable tonight. Pitt's concentrated on the inside and on Arcidiacono. Forgot about Hilliard. I'm sure Jamie Dixon put his name front and center on the board at halftime.
Another sellout here at the Pavilion, getting set for the second half. After the first 20, so both teams around 31%. 9 Pittsburgh turnovers. That is their season average. That was the case in the first 20 minutes of this ball game. And Nova got nothing off their bench. They've got the ball to start the half. Mutayaru off target. Here comes Pitt. Trey Woodall 2 points coming off that concussion against Marquette. Cleared to play tonight, ready to go. Zana left it short. He scored all 3 of his points from the free throw line in the first half. We'll go to the line here for a couple.
I might ask, has Woodall been affected by the concussion? And clearly we don't know how he feels at this point out on the floor, but just by watching him, he looks fine. He seems fine to shoot on warm-ups. I just think the Villanova defense has been terrific. Same with Arcidiacono. I mean, they're not giving him any breathing room, and that's the scouting report on him. Get up in him, make him put the ball on the floor. That's what Syracuse did even with their 2-3 zone. Somehow he's got to get out and transition like he did at the end of the half to get loose.
This is what Pitt will have to deal with in the second half. Zana, 4 points, all at the foul stripe. We're tied at 23. 12-2 run by Pitt gave him a 7-point lead. 8-0 run to close the first half by Villanova to take the 1-point advantage. They led by as many as 4 in the first. Arcidiacono doesn't drive a ton, doesn't shoot from inside the arc all that often. Bell, struggling shooting coming into this game, knocks down a big 3. First points of the night, 3 for his last 16 from outside before that bucket.
Both the first 2 possessions, Pittsburgh defense kind of taking a step back from what they had in the first half as far as energy, and Jamie Dixon not happy.
Offensive foul. That's the 3rd on Lamar Patterson, who averages near double figures. He's got 3 at the 18:54 mark.
His defense tightened on that possession there, and Patterson has to understand he's got to put the ball in Woodall's hands if he doesn't have an angle.
Coming off a career-high 22, including that game-tying 3 to send it to OT. He has not scored tonight. Now he's on the bench, and Pitt has its 11th turnover. Arcidiacono nearly got it knocked away, and then ends up giving it up on the drive.
What hurts Pittsburgh and what's hurt them in the Big East games? Here we have John Cal coming in to maybe change the call.
John Gaffney, John Cal discussing. Gaffney was the closest, and we'll stick with Gaffney's call. Good job to discuss it. Cal, Gaffney, dance, veteran officiating.
I wondered what they were talking about.
Hey, what are you doing for dinner?
How good did you see it? Well, I saw it pretty good. Well, I saw it very good. 2 great officials, 3 great officials tonight.
All at least double-digit experience, 42 combined years in terms of the combined experience for these guys.
The problem is when you start huddling, one coach is going to be ticked off at you.
There's Woodall, smooth-looking shot stepping into that short corner. He's got 4.
Both teams have to try to beat the defense a little bit more with the bounce. And Pittsburgh's Achilles heel we talked about has been guarding dribble penetration, but Villanova doesn't really have the guards to do that.
A dangerous cross-court pass in the middle of that defense, but it ends in Yaru bodying up for 2. He's got 6 points, back-to-back double-doubles the last 2 games.
Adam, what's going on here? Both teams are scoring.
It's an offensive explosion, Coach.
I'm not ready for this.
Woodall got space, got a 3 off. Left it short. Rebound Bell. Here comes Hilliard. And Teron Johnson's going to get a whistle for his second foul right in front of John Cal.
Well, what's happened at halftime, both teams have made adjustments offensively. I think they're not holding the ball as much. When you hold the ball against either of these defenses, that allows the defense to shrink and come at you as far as holding the ball. They see you, and with every second they come nearer the basketball, reverse it quicker.
That seemed to be the case for Nova against Syracuse, and you saw Pittsburgh against Marquette. Was that the case too?
Well, you know, at halftime you have to make adjustments. You have to get a feel of not only where the defense is, but how the game's being officiated. Right now they're letting them play pretty much physical basketball.
Ochefu with Zana, Robinson hassling him. Ochefu, an up and under move, but did he drag that pivot foot? Mike Nance says yes from midcourt, makes the call.
They keep throwing the ball into Ochefu there, and that's not where he can do much damage in that mid-post area. And if they're going to throw him the ball, he's got to carve out better space where he can just make a quick move to the rim. Looked to me like it's a very good call. Change pivot.
20 turnovers combined. The defense, RG Diacono trying to isolate Zana. Got it knocked away by Ochefu. Robinson corrals, and then Chenault runs into it. Second on the transfer from Wake Forest. There's 35 for Pitt. Woodall sizes up Archie Diacono, takes him right and left and pulls it up.
Not a great shot by Trey Woodall, but he really didn't have any options. Nobody was open, so he had to do something himself.
Archie Diacono 1 of 5 in the first half from the floor. And with Ochefu and Zana battling down low, they'll get Talib Zana for his second foul.
Here come the foul calls, and here come the annoyed coaches on both ends of the floor. With every call, you hear some barking.
Yep, 5 combined fouls in the first 3.5 minutes of the second half.
The coaches make adjustments. Sometimes the officials make an adjustment as well. So let's tighten this thing up.
Ziegler's in, Robinson's out. Yaru steps out, Sutton and Pinkston both come in. Pinkston had foul trouble. The team's leading scorer at 13 a game did not score in the first half. Looking for his first 2 of the game.
That's how he creates space. A little twist and turn around the rim. Usually he draws the foul and gets to the line. That time found the great angle and the easy one.
Nova plus 5. Adams with Sutton guarding. Everybody collapsing on Adams. Would not fall. Here comes Villanova. They've got their largest lead of the game. Archie Diacono, 7-point lead. Timeout, Jamie Dixon. This great atmosphere in Villanova going nuts. And when we come back, we'll tell you about the numbers you need to know about what's become really a tough place to play in the Big East. It's the Pavilion. You got to look at the hyperbolic paraboloid roof here at the Pavilion. It's a very interesting design when you get to look at it from inside or outside. Tonight's game, part of My Home Court, our week-long celebration of the great college basketball arenas and venues around the country. So let's talk about the numbers you need to know about the Pavilion, celebrating its 133rd straight regular season sellout, built in 1986. First ever game, February the 1st. Maryland lost to Villanova 64-62. The capacity, about a third of those seats belong to that great student section, and the cost today would be about $53 million for this facility. Almost chump change compared to some of the arenas you'll see around the country now. But this is one of the great atmospheres. You had to come here when you were coaching at Providence. This is a tough place to play for road teams. Villanova's won 81% of its games here.
What did you say that roof was?
A hyperbolic paraboloid.
See, if I would have known that when we were at Providence, we would have used that in recruiting.
Sure, yeah,
so you want to play in a building with a roof like that? But a brutal play. I like coming here much better now than I did then because
undefeated here.
Oh, everyone's nice to you. The referees say hello. Jay has us in his office. You know, everything's great.
You got a nice practice facility though across the street for Villanova, which has its largest lead of the game at 7. 8-0 run to close the first, a 9-2 run here right now.
Pitt has really bad spacing offensively right now. That's why they've struggled, and Villanova's on a 17-3 run.
Shot clock to 7. Woodall away from the screen from Adams, and a steal by Bell. Rather Pinkston got it knocked away from behind. And 32 on the shot clock. This is the under 16 media timeout, so we'll step aside. Nova's got its largest lead at 7. Jamie Dixon's team's got to step up here. Wednesday Night Hoops at ESPNU, our tour of the Big East all season long, and at the Pavilion. Largest lead for Villanova at 7. Take you around the Big East like we will all season. Greg Whittington declared ineligible by JT3 today. It's an academic issue. He's out until further notice. Marquette 3-0 for just the second time since they joined the Big East in the mid-2000s, and 2 straight wins for Cincinnati bouncing back. For the Bearcats, they've got Marquette this Saturday.
And Syracuse on Monday, so another big weekend. Just don't look ahead, Cincinnati. They've done that in the past and kind of get bitten a little bit. But I think Mick Cronin's got the troops back in order. And last night, Shek Muj, 8 blocks.
Yeah.
And their win over DePaul.
Some really good shot blockers, including Obekpa. He had a nice performance last night against Notre Dame, including that closing block, as Notre Dame fell to St. John's at Madison Square Garden. How about Villanova? If they get a win tonight, they'll join that club, Cincinnati, Marquette, Syracuse, Louisville, that have 3 or 4 wins on the season.
Well, again, this is Villanova's identity. Play it ugly, muck it up, defend, get to the free throw line.
Now Taylor just ripped it away from Archie Diacono. In transition, Woodall to Johnson.
But unfortunately for Jay Wright, that's also their identity. Live ball turnovers that turn into easy Pitt baskets. Now Pitt has to attack on the turnover because they struggled in the half court.
Third 3 for Johnson. Arcidiacono whips it to Bell. He really does like that corner spot. We've seen him hit a lot over the course of the last 2 years from there. Good defense, Arcidiacono, and a timeout from Jamie Dixon. He is upset at Ziegler for not getting rid of that basketball. Thursday Night Showcase presented by T. Rowe Price coming up on Thursday, as you'd expect. And the Pac-12, we've been talking about it all week. Kind of a resurgence this year for the conference out west. Oregon's in the top 25. UCLA, after kind of a shaky start, back in the top 25 as well. We'll see how Bob Cantu does at USC after Kevin O'Neal was fired after a 7-10 start. Two great matchups tomorrow night on ESPNU and on Watch ESPN. So the teams that were not ranked at the start of the season that are now ranked. Minnesota might be the best surprise in the country.
Well, Tubby Smith, he and Ben Howland suddenly have remembered how to coach, according to their faithful alums.
That's right.
We're all on their tail in the last couple years, but two terrific coaches. And Tubby Smith, we're glad to see one of the special guys in the business back up on top.
Quick inbounds to Johnson, and he knocks down another jumper. Deron Johnson, coming off a career-high 10 points, has a new career-high at 11.
I really like him. A lot of energy defensively, gets out transition, but a very capable perimeter shooter, playing with a lot of confidence now for Pittsburgh.
4 of 6 from the floor now. They're trying to get Pinkston to the post. Yaru puts it on the floor against Taylor. Stepped out of bounds. Nova gives it away, and Pitt, after trailing by 7, has got a shot to tie or take the lead.
Well, that's one thing when Jay Wright goes to his beautiful summer mansion down on the Jersey Shore. I'm sure he doesn't design that into his playbook. Have Yaru take it 3 dribbles on the baseline and try to drive to the rim. He's got to get the ball to one of the guards.
Mentioned Kansas State, one of those unranked teams that is now ranked. Will be coming up next against a good defensive team, TCU. Deron Johnson, another deep shot. And this time he left it short. Taylor the offensive rebound. We have not seen a lot of those tonight for Pitt. And a foul on the floor.
Johnson's not afraid. Very quick to flash from the weak side on the throwback, and Pinkston a little slow on the closeout. Inside, Taylor doing some work. Here again now, Bell's playing on the bottom side of Johnson. He's got to be aware. Pitt will set this little flat double, and Johnson's got a quick release on the wing.
Robinson gets it into Ziegler. Good looking jump shot. We're tied at 32. 7-0 run for Pitt.
Well, that's option B. That time Johnson, Red Bell went opposite, and then Ziegler came off the flat double from the weak side of Villanova. Not aware, too slow to react. Nice baseline sets for Jamie Dixon.
How about this? It took 90 seconds to come back and tie this game for Pitt. That was dangerous from Yaru. They get the foul on J.J. Moore, but he nearly cleared out with that elbow. Seen that a lot more often. Some coaches, who I was hearing on a broadcast the other night, some coaches stopped teaching the clear out with the elbow because they're afraid of flagrant foul calls.
Absolutely, but Moore's got to give Yaru a little bit more space on the perimeter, kind of an unnecessary foul.
Arcidiacono right into Taylor, and that's the third on Dante Taylor. He's going to go over to John Gaffney and say, Arcidiacono kind of hooked me, but it was more incidental, and Taylor drew the bump.
Well, this is when the game gets ugly. When fouls.
Oh, now is when it gets ugly. Okay.
Start occurring 35 feet from the basket. You don't mind him in the lane, but outside, that's when it's like, all right, back up a little bit, guys.
Gotcha. Ochefu against a smaller Moore. Taylor, the bigger man, comes over to help. Somebody's got to be open. Good rotation by Pitt. They recover defensively, and Arcidiacono resets. Hilliard weaving the pitch to Arcidiacono. 1 of 6 from the floor tonight. The foul called on the floor. They get it against Villanova. They're going to get Yaru for his second. 4 on Nova, 5 on Pitt. Foul set.
Pitt did a good job on the weak side, on the skip, on the clear out there by Hilliard. Drove and kicked to Arcidiacono. Good job closing out quickly, not giving an open look.
Pavilion crowd chanting for some defense. We're tied. Robinson against Archie Diacono all the way to the rim. And an offensive foul. Hilliard stepped in to take the charge on the freshman. And now they change the call. Mike Nance just came over and said it was a blocking foul against Hilliard.
I think that Jay Wright is perplexed at best, but he's like, I don't know what happened. If Jay Wright doesn't know, I don't know how you and I are supposed to know what that was. Let's look at that again.
Was he in the restricted area?
No, he's way outside.
He's outside of it.
He's got his feet set, and Robinson crashes right into him. That is an absolute charge.
Robinson's first points of the night. Freshman out of DeMatha, great high school program. He was the winningest player in that great high school program. 120 wins, 3 city titles in D.C.
One thing for sure, though, both teams have to understand what Robinson's play there. He was very fortunate to be on the line now because of the fact that both teams, you cannot drive the ball against a set defense from the perimeter and think you're going to get to the rim without some resistance.
First lead for Pitt in the second half. Aggressive defense. That was off the foot of a Wildcat. I believe it was Yaru's last to touch.
Pitt is almost welcoming the ball into the low box. They want to throw it into Ochefu, who's wide open. They're playing dead behind him. They've got the big guy Adams planted right on his backside, and then they're coming with the trap. And Ochefu struggling, handling it, making that next pass out of it.
12 turnovers for the game on Villanova. Chenault guards Robinson now. Chenault helps out on Adams. He backs his way in against Yaru. Here comes Nova with numbers. Chenault to Pinkston. Nova's back in front by 1.
Well, make the wrong pass, but the right play. I thought he'd spread out. I thought Pinkston would come weak side, but for some reason he knew Pinkston was behind him. I didn't think he had any idea. A good, solid, heady play by both Chenault and Pinkston.
How about Pinkston getting in the way? They're going to say that Pinkston had contact with the basketball when he was out of bounds, so it'll stay with Pitt. And 21 on the shot clock on the other side of this break. Moore a little bit slow to get up. Wasn't the prettiest break, but it gave Villanova the lead a moment ago.
Hey, both teams will take whatever they can get. 3-on-2, everybody can hug each other, but hey, slither it up there. Find some points.
All part of my home court. ESPN celebration of some of the great arenas in college basketball. 303rd game ever played here at the Pavilion. 4 out of every 5 games in this arena always go to Villanova. Right now they've got a 1-point lead. 4 ties, 6 lead changes. Both teams have led by 7. It's been a battle right now in Big East play. Drive from Woodall, the give to Adams, and the flush for a Pittsburgh lead.
That's why Woodall's so important. Just a complete understanding of not only where the defense rests, but his teammates when they slide into the open gap.
Diacono, a bad pass. Lamar Patterson corrals, saves to Woodall. Trey all the way to the rim, couldn't finish. Bodies on the floor, and a foul called on Villanova. We'll get Diacono for it.
Loose, long passes on the perimeter are not recognized as something you want to do tonight, and both teams have done it at times, and when you do, they're going to make you pay. Woodall comes from the other end of the floor, and like they called the late block, but here you see Woodall, just a great presence of mind to understand. Look at Villanova, they're going to attack, and Pinkston turns his head. Adams rolls down the middle of the floor, right to the rim.
6 fouls on Villanova. It'll be bonus the rest of the way for Pitt. This will be 2 shots coming for Trey Woodall. Jay Wright getting another explanation. We saw a charge, at least the way you thought it, and the way I think everybody saw it, a charge on Hilliard that he ended up getting called for a block. So nobody's happy on the Villanova side right now.
Well, that was like the delayed, double delay reaction on the block call, because Woodall shoots the ball, comes off the rim. Watch it, hits the floor. He hits the floor. The ball hits the floor. Everybody hits the floor, and then the whistle came.
Woodall knocks down 2. He's got 6 points. 3-point lead for Pittsburgh.
You got to call it right away, or else you're going to really catch the wrath of the coach down at the other end.
Here's Ochefu against the size of Adams. The pitch to Hilliard. The shot fake on Robinson. Leading in for the bump. Way off target and more the rebound. Pittsburgh riding its largest second half lead. Patterson a 3. Long rebound. Ochefu squares for Villanova.
Talk about halftime adjustments. One thing Jamie Dixon told his team, we talked about it at halftime, get up in Hilliard, make him a driver, get up on his left hand, force him right, and don't give him any open looks. That's what they've done this half.
Ochefu trying to find space on Adams. They'll get a foul against the 7-foot New Zealander. Be with us Thursday as ESPNU brings the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl practice sessions live to you beginning at 1:30 Eastern. Dari Noka, Todd McShay, Bill Poley, and Robert Smith will break down all the components to determining what draft-eligible seniors need to do to be considered for the NFL draft. It starts at 1:30 on ESPNU. Ash Yakubu runs it down.
Villanova going into their own funk offensively. They need to space the court and try to beat Pittsburgh off the bounce a little bit more. They're trying to throw the ball into their bigs. Nothing's been there. High post or low post.
A 12-2 run right now for Pitt, answering that 17-3 Villanova run they used to take a 7-point lead. Chenault ran right into Adams, reset to Yakubu. Still 10 to shoot. Didn't leave his feet. There's Chenault. Nova looks bad. Can Pinkston save him on this possession? Moore knocked it out of bounds. Nance doesn't know who was last to touch. Everybody gets together and they say it will stay at this end of the floor with 2 on the shot clock.
Burn the playbooks, because neither of these teams are running their sets tonight. And what Villanova has to do, they have to change sides of the floor with the basketball somehow, some way.
They get an open look from Bell for 3. Off the heel. Robinson to Woodall, steps into a deep 2, and he got it rejected by Ochefu.
Sheffield. This is why he's in the lineup. Just a great presence of mind, not only inside defensively, but on the perimeter, close out on the guard.
Second block for Ochefu tonight. And a good play on the sideline by Hilliard. He was trying to knock it out on Woodall. I think he was already on the sideline when he made contact. Still a good play.
You float a pass in the last 9-13 in this game. Guaranteed there's going to be 2 or 3 guys converging on the ball. It's got to be short, quick passes, and there you see Hilliard, I think, jammed his hand into the table.
Yeah, the table is very close to the sideline. Hilliard, no points here in the second, but he led the way with 14 in the first half out of the 23 that Villanova scored. His career high came back at Madison Square Garden, had 22 in that overtime win against Purdue. Pittsburgh trying to avoid sliding to 1-4 in the Big East. Villanova trying to pick up a win and stay in the top 4 in the Big East. And Pittsburgh with a turnover. Johnson threw it away looking for Robinson. Nova, a 3, will tie this game.
Again, the pressure. The perimeter pressure, the baseline pressure, and the weak side help. Active hands, great rotations. Both teams struggling on offense because of airtight defense.
The knock away by Woodall. There's some of it right there. Robinson. Woodall wanted it back for a moment. Now they reset. And Robinson throws it away, but they'll get Ochefu for a foul. That'll be the second on the freshman from Baltimore, the Nigerian native, and that'll be shots for Pittsburgh coming a 1-1.
That's a freshman mistake by Ochefu. There's no reason to reach in on that spot on the floor. He wasn't in a scoring area. Well, that's not Moore's game, that back to the basket. He's more of a perimeter slashing type guy.
J.J. Moore, scoreless, best bench scorer, gets his first, and there is Hilliard. It looked like they were checking on his thumb for a moment on his right hand, and that is his shooting hand. And he looks like he's in some pain. Moore knocks down a pair. Bench scoring has been in Pitt's advantage tonight, and much better at the foul line. 13 of 26 against Marquette in an overtime loss. 10 of 14 tonight. 5-point lead for Pittsburgh. Largest of the second half. Pinkston, the double came. He found Ochefu. That should be goaltending. It is. Adams came over to knock it free, but count the 2 for Ochefu. He's got 4 points.
That's a nice recognition by Pinkston of the trap. He's not a very good passer at all, but on that time he felt the double team down on the baseline. Ochefu, give him a lot of credit. He didn't stand on the backside. As soon as his man released, he slid right to the rim.
13-4 Panthers, 11-5 Wildcats. And a slugfest of a Big East game here at Villanova tonight.
Sometimes when the defense is so tight like this, you almost have to scrap your plays and just kind of open the offense up.
Here's Moore. Couldn't hit. Tip up by Ziegler would not fall. Here comes Nova. Archie Diacono settles.
What happens is you start running to the basketball and you lose your ability to space the court.
Right.
Both teams right now are really tight on offense.
Go down to Pinkston. Being guarded by Moore. Bodied him up and got the foul. Couple of shots coming on the other side of this break. Villanova down by 3 with 7:40 to go. Their leading scorer tonight has been the sophomore from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, Darren Hilliard. They're taping up his right hand. Does he come in? Does he keep that hot hand? We'll find out. 7:40 to go coming up next. 3-point lead for Pitt. 7:40 remaining. And ESPN College Basketball is available live anytime, anywhere on your computer, tablet, or smartphone at watchespn.com and with the Watch ESPN app.
Now, when I get back to the room tonight, I'm not only going to watch this because I want to hear your voice again, but I want to watch this tough defense because it is a clinic on how to play tough man-to-man defense. You might say, oh, these teams are so challenged offensively, and they are in some respects. But the defense has been absolutely perfect in the half court. They're really good team defense. The team defense on both ends of the floor has been special. They don't allow anything easy in the lane, and the rotations have been very good. And both teams are playing extremely hard.
You see Hilliard, scoreless here in the second half. He jammed his right thumb seemingly a few plays ago. Stays on the bench here. He does have it taped up, though. Villanova's down 3. They've got a couple of shots with Javon Pinkston at the line coming up.
One of the issues for Villanova tonight, they have not been to the line very often at all. 30 a game in the league, 28 on the season. Pittsburgh's done a good job of defending without fouling.
Both teams under 38% shooting. Villanova's 5 or 6 of 7, and now 7 of 8 at the free throw line. 2 for Pinkston, 1-point game. Pittsburgh leads. And here's a little bit of pressure being shown by the Cats. Ziegler's played a lot of good minutes tonight. Trying to find Taylor in the post. Shot clock to 10 for Woodall. This is what he's here to do. The senior takes charge, takes it to the lane. Offensive foul. Javon Pinkston draws the charge.
Well, again, Adam, this is what we've talked about all night long. You are not going to be able to drive the ball from outside the three-point line and get to the rim without some resistance or major resistance. Both teams are going to come and attack you most of the time outside the lane. That time, Pinkston got outside the restricted area to take the charge.
You see Darren Hilliard back in the game. Hot shooting in the first half. Pretty much carried Villanova's offense in the first 20.
A totally mirror defensively, both teams.
Absolutely.
The way they play ball screens, the way they play weak side help, attack, the dribbler into the lane, just a little bit different. Pittsburgh doubling on the post.
Pinkston hesitated, had to step on Zana, then hesitated a moment, could not finish.
Jay Wright trying to get Pinkston going. They're going into him in the last couple possessions down in the low box.
Johnson stepped in the lane, and Pinkston got called for his 3rd foul.
I like Johnson. He probably gets out of the play sets a little bit too much to Jamie Dixon's liking, but you know, sometimes you have to do that just to make things happen. And right now, both teams trying to run their plays, they're not effective at all. So open the court up and try to make some things happen with energy, and that's what Johnson does.
Ron Johnson having a good night, career high 12 points tonight. The last 2 games he's had career highs. He buries 2 free throws and Pitt's back up by 3.
I like him a lot. I mean, he's fearless, the freshman from Baltimore. I mean, he just makes things happen. He looks really confident on the floor.
Great prep program at Brewster. Pinkston nearly lost it. Villanova keeps it. Hilliard looking for space, couldn't get open. That was tipped by Zana into the hands of Pinkston, and he drew the bump on Taylor, and he'll have 2 coming. That's 4 fouls on Dante Taylor now.
Javon Pinkston look to do get the ball down to the lane, and old school like he used to in the playgrounds of Brooklyn. Just get it up on the rim and go get it.
I want to go back to something you said, Coach. You said that these 2 teams have mirrored each other. These 2 teams are looking very similar, and they might finish. Again, it's too early to speculate, but they're built very similarly, and again, they're a little younger than they have been in years past. They're very similar-looking teams.
And also, I think similar in the fact that they're looking for confidence.
Sure.
Neither of them are coming off NCAA tournament runs.
And they've been used to going.
Right, exactly. So now you lose a little bit of that pop in your step when you miss the tournament for a year, but I think they're both going to be there for the long haul.
1-point game. Ziegler Trying to work inside. That's a strong move to the basket. That's what a lot of Mac fans got used to seeing from Ziegler when he was at Central Michigan.
Or comfort level. That's what Trey Ziegler is starting to get to. He's starting to get a great feel for the game and also confidence from his coach to keep him in the game.
Yaru rolling to the bucket, and it rolled off the rim. Would have had a chance at a three-point play, and he buried that one, but 2 shots coming for Mukta Yaru. Foul on Zana, his third.
Villanova opening up the court, changing sides of the floor, and Yaru very good at catching the ball on the run for a big guy. Jamie Dixon not happy with the defense. He wants the hands up in the air to present more resistance, not on the shot, but on the pass.
Well, that's just the 14th free throw miss this year on 65 attempts. 79% shooter at 6'10" out of West Africa. Splits a pair and he cuts the lead back down to 2.
1-2-2 back to man. See if Pittsburgh will make a mistake.
Able to break it. Ziegler corrals, pushes the pace. Johnson for 3. Around and out. Pinkston the rebound. I wanted to kind of set up the pressure a little bit, Pitt did, but came a little loose there.
He looked a little, he had one eyeball over to Jay. Should I have gone or passed?
Pinkston working inside, dangerous to Yaru, and a turnover for Nova. 15 Villanova turnovers and a timeout call. It's a 30-second timeout for Jay Wright here. 2-point lead for Pittsburgh, and again, defense has been the theme. Obviously, a lot of people can tune into this game now, see that we played about 35 minutes and only 84 points are on the board.
Well, Pittsburgh traditionally has been one of the best defensive teams, not only in the league, but in the country. And tonight they've shown why. When you throw the ball inside, they attack on the perimeter, the high hands, a lot of resistance, not only on the three-point line, but around the box, at the rim as well. They've got the big fella to protect. They've trapped the post. They got up into the ball handlers, and Villanova has struggled all night long getting anything easy into half court.
Pittsburgh, when they have had steals, they've worked in transition trying to score points. Both of these teams have led by as many as 7 in this game. Both teams shooting under 37%. And Pitt's defense came in again against a weaker non-conference schedule, and it hasn't been as good at Big East play. But over the course of the season, it's still been a very good Pittsburgh defense, 5th in the country in scoring deep.
Well, the philosophy hasn't changed. The base is there. I think they have all the pieces. They're still learning how to play in Jamie Dixon's system. Not offensively, but defensively. That's the key to Pittsburgh's success over the years. And when you start 2 freshmen, that's difficult. But last possession, better job by Pittsburgh with the high hands on the ball, on the attack by Pinkston in the lane, caused the turnover.
Bad pass. Here comes Bell. Tie game.
Now that's a killer right there. Trey Will. Very rare that you see that, a sloppy, loose bounce pass on the perimeter.
Ziegler trapped. Adams wide open. Nobody picked him up, and he throws it down for a Pittsburgh lead. It's the second field goal in about the last 6.5 for Pitt.
That gives Ziegler all the credit in the world. Did not panic through the double team. That's your son of a coach right there. Okay, stepped through the trap and found the open man.
Pinkston, pressure from Zana on the hedge. Here's Bell. Arcidiacono had space, so he'll launch for the lead. Long rebound. Zana couldn't corral it. Yaru is on the ground. Zana gets it ahead to Johnson. Jamie Dixon says slow it down with a 2-point lead and nearing 4 to go.
Part of Pittsburgh's problem a little bit in the half court is they're not coming to meet the ball on the perimeter. Some of their passes are loose, but they've got to come and attack the pass when it's coming to them on the perimeter.
Deron Johnson on the drive. Pitch to Adams from 15. Off the heel. Pinkston the rebound. 3:45 left.
Not what Pittsburgh wanted there. Adams, that's not his spot on the floor. Still learning what's a good shot. What is it?
Hilliard. Pick and roll with Yaru. Toe on the tape, 2. Around and out. Here comes Pittsburgh. Woodall to Ziegler to the rim. 4-point Panther lead. Timeout, Jay Wright. And Trey Ziegler with a quick spurt to get to 10 points.
Well, Trey Woodall made an unfortunate bad play a couple possessions ago where he threw the ball away in the perimeter, but here's Ziegler, the veteran, the experienced player, the son of a coach, stepping through the trap. This is what you have to do. Stay strong, attack your defenders, attack one of their shoulders, and here's Woodall making the nice play, slowing down at the free throw line, understanding that the wings are filling the lane, and Ziegler with the perfect finish.
Pittsburgh, we talk about their offensive efficiency. They may not score the most points in the country, but they're one of the most efficient offenses because they try to get the most out of every possession. 11 assists on 16 field goals tonight.
Starts with Trey Woodall, and he's made a couple unfortunate plays, but when the game is on the line, the ball will be in his hands. Jamie Dixon trusts him with everything on the court, and you saw why on that last play. Even after a bad play, no problem. He's going to make the right decision in transition there. It really looked like they made something out of nothing because Woodall understood that somebody was going to come fill the right lane. He waited for things to happen. He saw the defense slow down, made the perfect pass.
For the starting five out there for Pitt, Ziegler is in the game. James Robinson, the freshman, is not. Here comes Villanova down by 4. Chenault, Arcidiacono, Bell, Yaru, and Ochefu. Arcidiacono got it stripped from behind, and Trey Woodall comes up with the pick.
Well, that's not his game at all, Arcidiacono. He's got to understand and feel the pressure, try to reverse the ball, get the ball going from side to side. Villanova struggling with their spacing.
Big defensive possession for Villanova here. Shot clock to 10. Woodall on the switch with Ochefu. Gives to Ziegler. Ziegler in the lane. Got it to go, and it's a 6-point Panther lead with 2.5 remaining.
That has not been there all night. Just a drive from the wing into the gap, into the lane, and getting to the rim, finding the angle. Ziegler makes something out of nothing on that play.
Next dead ball, still a timeout coming, the under 4 break. There's Ochefu. Zana came over for the double. Pitched it out to Bell, who got covered up by Patterson. Shot clock to 10. Bell is looking for Yaru on the roll. He corrals it. Adams, strong defense from the freshman, and here comes Pitt inside of 2 minutes to go.
Much size on the inside on that possession for Yaru. He tried to make something happen at the end of the clock, but Adams, great presence defensively coming over from the weak side.
A Villanova foul will put Pitt at the line for 1 and 1. Woodall to Ziegler. Got it rejected by Yaru. Here's Patterson with 2 for the largest Pitt lead of the game. Left it short. Battle for it, and Patterson comes out with it. Back to the rim, and he got it to go. Largest lead of the night for Pittsburgh, and Jay Wright takes another timeout with 1:13 remaining. First points of the night for Lamar Patterson.
First, I thought he was wide open on the perimeter. I thought Patterson took too much time taking the 3 and then followed his own miss. Thought he was going to pull the ball out with under 1:30 to go. And a 6-point lead. I think Jamie Dixon wanted to use more clock, but he saw the C's part. He got to the rim, and now Bell's hurt.
James Bell, I don't know if it's maybe a cramp or what. He's kind of clutching at his left calf. Looks like it is, maybe just assuming because he's kind of stretching it out. This is that last Pitt possession.
Running the clock down, using the shot clock. Ziegler making a nice play into the middle. Nothing there, but I thought Patterson was open. Shoots a contested shot, but follows his own miss on the scrum. Thought he was going to pull the ball back out. Then he saw Zana kind of cleared space for him on the weak side. Could be the dagger for Pitt.
You see 32 in white, James Bell. Thought maybe he landed kind of awkwardly again. He was kind of clutching at his left calf, so I wonder if he felt something. You saw him kind of hopping around at the end there. So Bell, who's a good 3-point shooter, is off the floor for Villanova, which is trailing by its largest deficit at 8 right now. Again, the next dead ball, that's not a timeout. We'll still take a break. Still got that media timeout coming. Pinkston will launch a 3. Adams, strong rebound inside. There's the foul. We'll get a Chefu for that. 1-1 for Adams on the other side. He has struggled shooting free throws. He's got a couple of huge ones coming up with 1:01 remaining. Largest Pitt lead at 8.
Coming up next here on the U, Rodney Magruder and Kansas State getting ready to take on TCU. 6 straight wins for the Wildcats. He's averaged 22 points in the Wildcats' 2-0 start to league play. Plus, we'll show you the dramatic finish, NC State and Maryland coming up after this one. Adam and Tim, back to you.
Thanks, Matty. This is our one-on-one. This is what Coach was looking at the top, and sure enough, Trey Woodall back in gear. Nova started hot, cooled off.
Well, defensively, he's been there all night long, really giving Arcidiacono fits, on-ball defending. But offensively, more in the second half, he got in gear. He got them up in transition, made some plays to the rim. Ziegler has been terrific as well, as has Deron Johnson and Villanova. You just haven't found anything from just Pittsburgh gets up in you. You've got to be able to break Pittsburgh down off the dribble. If you don't have dribble penetrators or guys that can get into the lane against them, you're going to struggle. We saw that last week against Georgetown. That's not the way they play. They're a passing type offense. Villanova doesn't have the Randy Foy. They don't have the Allen Ray, the Scotty Reynolds, the Malik Weems on the floor anymore. So they play a little bit differently, and Pittsburgh is pretty tough when you don't have a guard that can break them down.
How about Steven Adams? 9 of 30 on the season at the foul stripe. He's a very good practice shooter. But again, a freshman and dealing with a big crowd, but that's a big clutch free throw make. Still +9, largest Pitt lead of the night. Final minute of this game. Arcidiacono for 3. 1 for their last 11 from three-point range. Villanova, Chaffee to foul. 2 shots coming for Pitt, Trey Ziegler.
Pitt's game plan defensively never wavered tonight. They just got up into Arcidiacono. They showed really hard on the ball screens and just put the lockdown on Villanova. And here in the last 11 minutes, only 2 field goals.
Kansas State, TCU coming up next. Number 16 taking on a very good defensive team in TCU tonight. Big night for Trey Ziegler and the transfer from Central Michigan. His father, Ernie, was a former assistant at Pitt under Jamie Dixon, the head coach at Central Michigan. Played for him for a couple of years, but Ziegler was let go before this season. So Trey got a waiver to transfer and play right away at Pitt. Ernie actually moved his family back to the Pittsburgh or Pennsylvania area, so they get to watch Trey play now that he's playing at Pitt.
Well, you talk about Pittsburgh and their development this season. The freshmen, Robinson and Adams, also Ziegler, he's new to the program as well. And, it's not just college basketball learning, it's the Pittsburgh system itself. And you can see them growing defensively by the day for Jamie Dixon.
Hilliard off target.
Now, even though it was his right hand that he injured, or his right thumb, you need both hands to shoot, even though he's a lefty.
Yeah, non-shooting hand earlier. The right hand is the one that he jammed up. Didn't shoot much in the second half anyway. Only 2 field goal attempts in the second half.
No, I don't think it would matter.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh,
They locked them down.
They got up in them. I mean, the game plan, when you start talking about Villanova, it starts with Archie Diacono getting up and pressuring him, not giving him anything easy from the perimeter. Then it goes to Pinkston and then Yahoo. Hilliard surprised in the first half that he was that wide open, but Pittsburgh, give them tons of credit. They made the adjustment at halftime.
Pittsburgh's the enigma of the Big East right now. Blew a game against Cincinnati, couldn't beat Rutgers, although that was on the road. Blew out Georgetown on the road. Lose to Marquette at home in overtime, and they come to a very difficult place to play, and it looks like they're going to come away with their second Big East win, a huge one to avoid slipping to 1-4. Villanova will fall to 2-2. And Villanova's got some tough games coming up. They'll go to Providence on Saturday, but the next 3 games for Jay Wright's team after that. Now they're going to go through the meat grinder. You got to go up against Louisville, Syracuse, and then at Notre Dame.
Well, as Steve Lavin, our good friend, said last night, we're all our good friends now. I don't have to coach against them. Jamie and Jay, it's all first name basis. Steve said after the Notre Dame game last night, enjoy the roller coaster.
Yeah.
And that could go for about every team in this conference.
Absolutely.
About Notre Dame, they lose at home to Connecticut, lose to St. John's on the road. So Cincinnati's gone through their issues. Marquette's had 2 overtime wins.
They've grinded out those 3 wins.
Yeah, exactly. So nothing is going to be easy in this league. I think the middle part of the league looks, just when you look at the teams, look very similar.
Final regular season meeting between these 2 teams in Big East play. We'll see what the Big East tournament brings us come March, but this is it between 2 Pennsylvania rivals who faced off for the 64th time tonight. Villanova actually had a very slim 32-31 lead. So after 64 meetings, and again, the last one in Big East regular season play, they'll be tied up at 32. Pitt will have won the last 5 meetings between these 2 teams, and Jay Wright will fall to 5-11 all time against Pittsburgh.
We give Trey Woodall a lot of credit coming off the concussion on Saturday. Just the trust that he has in his teammates. He's such a good player, but he makes sure that everybody's involved in the offense. He talks to people on the floor. He communicates. He's a leader. He's kind of a coach on the floor.
Absolutely.
You can tell that he played for Bob Hurley. He really knows how to play. Now he's playing for another great coach, Jamie Dixon.
Mentioned Villanova's upcoming schedule. This is what Pitt has coming up. Take on Connecticut. We'll see it on Saturday from the Pete. And some games that do look winnable for a Pitt team that is growing day in and day out. Then it gets, again, that Louisville-Syracuse run. See a lot of teams having to face Louisville and Syracuse back-to-back. Those 2 teams will face off in one of those Journey to the Tourney games coming up this Saturday on ESPN. That's going to be very entertaining. Good effort tonight for the Pitt Panthers. They'll get their 14th win, 14-4. They'll move to 2-3 in Big East play. Villanova falls to 11-6, 2-2 in Big East play. Pitt ends this game on a 15-0 run to walk away with a 58-43 win on the road. For Tim Welsh and our great crew, Adam Amin saying so long for Villanova. Back to the studio. Here's Matt Schick.